The Aegean 600 has just finished. My first thoughts are that this has been a really challenging event. It's a very different offshore than I've sailed before. A real test for boat and indeed crew. Very, very challenging conditions, very different and busy race course, and it kept us extremely busy. I have to say I'm very tired after that, after those 4 days at sea. I have to say something about the start of this race. We came out here on Sunday morning, knowing that the conditions were going to be tough. We had a forecast of 25, 30 plus knots of breeze. But when we came out of the marina here, out into seeing that blue, bright blue Aegean Sea with all of the white caps that 25 and 30 knot and indeed more winds gives, it gave us an awesome feeling in terms of the challenge ahead. Our two watches on board naturally get very competitive. It makes the boat go faster, and indeed one of the high points for us was to determine who could get the highest speed, and we saw the boat do on separate occasions speeds of 20 and 22 knots. I'd like to say a little bit about our crew on this boat. A Howth team, a mix of really experienced offshore sailors. We brought with us an old Howth resident, Bill Heffernan, who is a resident here in Lariam, and indeed hadn't sailed for a few years, but really enjoyed his experience. Along with that, we had two families, two father and son combinations. Darren, who led the team in the first place, and his son Rocco, who was a champion dinghy sailor, and really showing us that he can take the wheel of a fantastic racing boat like this. Also, then separately, Michael and his son Jet, who had no experience in this zone at all, left us pretty surprised at how he was able to deal with the conditions, manage himself and indeed the boat and his role on the boat during the race. And of course, Conor Fogarty's really valuable experience in offshore racing and indeed in the Ostar was a massive contribution for us, particularly in helming downwind in heavy airs. It's also important that I mention our youngest crew member who joined us late in the campaign, untested, but he really lived up to his role. Aidan Malone worked with our barrow leader, Grace Murray, and Aidan proved an exceptional talent, learned really fast. He left us cold in terms of his ability, his energy, his focus and his determination and thinking on board. Also, and it's really important that I mention our assistance from our bow, Grace Murray, who's an exceptionally skilled bow and helped us the thick and thin. In fact, she went above and beyond the call of duty on a couple of occasions, rescuing not only difficult situations but also some sailcloth which we were able to bring back intact to the team here at X-Yachts. And also our navigator, Tom Cheney. We really couldn't have done this without Tom. Tom was floating outside of the two-watch system that we had, barely got any rest, but was able to manage himself and indeed the boat and the route and lots of other things on board as well. But all competent crew, excellent sailors in their own right, and we were really impressed with how they held up, how they excelled and exceeded our expectations in terms of their performance. And I suppose I'd have to marry that with the boat. This event doesn't just test the crew, it also tests the boat. So this year we were racing on the brand new XR41 Xcalibur. The boat really surprised us in terms of its agility and performance, acceleration, speed, and is a fantastic boat to race and sail, particularly in these challenging conditions. The team here at X-Yachts have been fantastic for us. We were blown away by the detail, the commitment and the standards in respect of chartering this yacht for this race. The X-Yachts team here delivered far in advance and delivered way above what I'd consider to be normal service. They were courteous, kind, friendly, and it was quite a shock actually to me how good they were. So I'd like to thank them for their really hard work. They were out to meet us on the finish line. They saw us out on the way back and we got a nice little bottle of champagne when we came ashore. Normally when you step ashore after a tough offshore like that, there are many cases where you say, I'm never doing that again. However, this one is a moment, and indeed my fellow crewmate Michael mentioned it to me, having done it last year, that as soon as he stepped on the dock, that he said to himself and indeed everyone around him, I really want to do that again. I'm a reflection of that now as well. It was an incredible race, a beautiful yacht, and I can't wait to do it again.